So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil 19 here, and today in this video we are finally doing my top 10 favorite figures of 2017. I know a lot of you have been waiting for me to make this list, but I was waiting till I got the December releases because I asked you guys if you wanted me to wait for those figures, and most of you did say yes. And the way I do my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list, I go by what figures released between the months of January of 2017 through December of 2017. That's how I've been doing it for the past couple of years. That's how I will remain to do it. So very hard list to do this year. I'm telling you, it's a great time to be a figure collector. We just keep getting more and more awesome figures each year. More figure companies are joining into the figure game. So we have tons of options of what figures we like to buy, and we've had a lot of good toy companies this year. A lot of them didn't bring their A game as much, while others did. There's just tons of stuff to put on this list, and I did do honorable mentions. I have 11 figures on that, and then of course the top 10 favorite figures list. And like I said, it was so hard doing this list this year. There was just so many good figures that released. It was just really difficult trying to put your top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list together, especially when you get more and more to the top. Some figures, there's no question where you want to put them on your list, but other figures you're like, wait, do I want to put that figure above this one or that one below that one? It's hard to do it, and like I said, this year was very difficult to do it. So we're going to start off with my honorable mentions. I'm going to put them, I actually put them in order from 21 to 11, so I'm going to start with 21 and move our way up to 11. Then after that, we will get into the top 10 favorite figures list. And when we get to the top 10, I'm going to show you guys the figures on my review table so you get a closer look at the figures. This one, I'm going to try to pop little pictures up here. If I don't, then I'll go off the screen. You'll see a picture of that figure real quickly. I'm going to try to make like a little picture pop up like right around here or over here. Either side, it doesn't matter. So coming in at number 21 on the honorable mentions is going to be the Mafex Kylo Ren, which I thought was a really good figure. Not the best, but definitely one of Mafex's cooler figures that they have released in 2017. Coming in at number 20 is the SH Figuarts The Dark Knight Batman. I feel like this is hands down the best 6-inch scale Batman figure that is around right now. Who knows, maybe the Mafex one, the 3.0 one, is gonna kick it out of the way and take its place. But as right now, the SH Figuarts The Dark Knight Batman was definitely a dope figure. Now coming in at number 19 is the Mezco 112 Joker. Not their best figure, but really one of the coolest Joker figures in the 6-inch scale that is around right now. They did an awesome job with it. Could have been better, but it is still a really cool figure. Coming in at 18 would be the Mezco Punisher. Best 6-inch scale Punisher figure that is around right now. They just destroyed it with each version of the Punisher that Mezco did release in 2017. They really did such a great job with that figure, and that's a lot of people's favorite of 2017. Coming in at number 17 is the SH Figuarts Bruce Lee Game of Death version. They just killed it with that figure. I think it was so much better than their first Bruce Lee. They're both really equally as good, but personally for me, Game of Death was my favorite Bruce Lee movie and my favorite version of Bruce Lee, so that's why I like that one better than the other Bruce Lee that they made. But that was such a great figure that they did give us earlier in the year. Coming in at 16 will be the Good Smile Company Figma Twilight Princess Link. Probably best Link figure that is around right now. They just destroyed it with that figure, especially the DX version with all those accessories. That just made the figure even that much better. So many posing and display options with that figure, so I think Good Smile did such a great job with that Link. Number 15 is the Mezco 112 Deadpool. Once again, Mezco did a fantastic job with that piece. The articulation could have been a little bit better, but you get some awesome accessories. The detail was done very well, and you can get them in some decent poses. Not the best though, you know what I mean? Coming in at 14 is the SH Figuarts Tech Suit Spider-Man. I had tons of fun posing that figure around. Tamashii Nations did do a very nice job with it, but I do feel like Mafex did get the coloring more correct than SH Figuarts. But the SH Figuarts one is so much fun to pose around with all the different display options you have. Coming in at number 13 is going to be the Mezco 112 Tiger Stripe Wolverine. This is hands down my favorite 6-inch scale Wolverine figure that is around right now, unless Storm Collectibles makes one or SH Figuarts. But Mezco really did do an awesome job with that figure. So happy and grateful I was able to get one at New York Comic Con, because it is such a great piece, and if you had the chance to get it, you must be very happy with it yourself. Now, coming in at number 12, well, these last 3 figures, the Wolverine and then the next 2, they were on my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. They just missed it by that much. So coming in at number 12 is the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Nappa. Definitely one of the best DBZ figures Tamashii Nations put out in 2017, and they just really did an awesome job with it. You could actually put him in some really good poses. He had some very nice ankle pivot, especially for the size of the figure. I really shouldn't be shocked, because the Broly had excellent articulation and Android 16 did, so it's really not that too surprising that Nappa did as well. And I do like how they put shading on his skin tone. Would have liked it on his armor as well, but then we also do get some pretty cool accessories along with a blast effect. Now, coming in at number 11 is the SH Figuarts Naruto Gaara. And Gaara is one of my favorite characters from Naruto. I think Tamashii Nations did a very nice job with the figure. They could have added in some shading and line work with the paint and stuff like that, and really would have made the figure that much better. But he does have nice articulation, and his lower portion of his robe does not hinder his leg articulation as much as you would think it would, because it is a very soft rubbery type plastic. So you do get some nice leg movement, and you do get nice articulation throughout the figure. The detail was done pretty well, but the accessories I feel like was probably one of the best parts about that figure, especially getting the one-tailed beast Sandhand. I thought that was a really cool accessory to add in with Gaara. Hopefully they don't discontinue that line, because I love that SH Figuarts Naruto line, and the line is just looking so good having all those figures together. It looks really great on display right there. That's only a few of them, but they look awesome on display right there. So those are my honorable mentions. Now let's move on to my top 10 favorite figures of 2017. And coming in at number 10, as you can see, is the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Tien. And I'm really glad that I did wait for the December releases, because this is a figure I've been waiting for Tamashii Nations to make for a very long time. Tien is a fan favorite, and he is a character that was desperately needed in the line, and they did a fantastic job with this figure. They really knocked it out of the park with this Tien. This is definitely one of their best releases of 2017. We get some decent accessories. The Chaozu, they could have articulated that, because you really can't display him unless you have him on Nappa's back, so that's a little bit disappointing. And I do wish they added some shading on the figure skin tone, but other than that, like I said, they knocked it out of the park with this Tien, and that is why he made it at number 10 in my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. So that is my number 10 pick. Let's move on to number 9. And coming in at number 9 is the SH Figuarts Justice League Wonder Woman. And in my own personal opinion, I feel like this is definitely the best 6-inch scale Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. The face, it looks like it doesn't look like her, but it actually looks exactly like her. If they added a little more paintwork on the face, you'd definitely be able to see Gal Gadot in the face there. We get a bunch of awesome accessories. She has some excellent articulation besides around the neck. It's not as bad as you would think it is around the neck because of the hair, but you do still get some decent movement with both the neck joints there. Like I said, we get a bunch of awesome accessories, and the detail was executed so damn well on this figure. I don't think I could be any more happy with how this Wonder Woman turned out. That is why she made my number 9 on my top 10 list. So that is my number 9. Let's move on to number 8. And coming in at number 8 is the Mezco 112 Deathstroke, and this figure really surprised the hell out of me. Mezco did such a great job with this Deathstroke here, and I feel like the design of this Deathstroke is kind of based off the Arkham Origins Deathstroke, which is one of the coolest Deathstroke designs. Jeez, how many times did I just say his name? But they really did an awesome job with this figure. The detail, I feel like, is definitely the high point to this Slade. The accessories is also another really cool part about this figure. I feel like they could have added a few more things with this figure, but we still do get some awesome stuff with this character. I don't know why we didn't get a left trigger finger hand, though. I think that was kind of dumb that we didn't get that. And then the articulation, I feel like, is done pretty damn good, actually. It does get hindered a little bit by the torso, but the ankles is something it seems like they updated a little bit better compared to their previous figures. You do get some nice ankle pivot with this Deathstroke here, so those are the reasons why this made it at number 8 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. So that is my number 8. Let's move on to number 7. And coming in at number 7, which was originally my number 8, but I just switched it with Slade Wilson just now because this is one of my favorite villains of all time, the Joker, and Heath Ledger is my favorite movie villain of all time. He just did such a great job portraying the Joker here, and the detail I think was done extremely well. Yeah, they could have added some paint shading on the vest and pants and stuff, which sucks that they didn't, but the detail on the face, it looks just like Heath Ledger. I think they did capture the likeness of his Joker perfectly on this figure. Maybe in promo images and seeing it on reviews, it doesn't look as much like him, but having it at hand, you see it does look exactly like him. And we do get a bunch of awesome accessories with the figure, so that is definitely a big plus. And then the articulation was done pretty good. It's not the best. It does get hindered by the trench coat, but the articulation is there around the torso. It just gets hindered, and then the neck articulation isn't the best either, but you could still get him in some pretty good poses, and that is why this figure has made it at lucky number 7 on my top 10 list. So that is my number 7. Let's move on to my number 6. And coming in at number 6 is the Mega House Variable Action Heroes One Piece Past Blue Monkey D. Luffy. And Mega House really did kill it with this figure, from the detail to the accessories and the articulation. The detail, probably one of Mega House's strong points to their figures, because they do a fantastic job with paint and paint shading. Sculpt looks fantastic all throughout the figure. The articulation, definitely one of their better points as well, because you can get these figures in some great poses. And the accessories, you get a bunch of great stuff included with this Luffy. The only downside is they don't give any Gum Gum Devil Fruit ability like effects, like maybe a stretchy arm or leg or something like that. They never include that with Luffy, which is a bit odd, because Tamashii Nations did it with their SH Figuarts Luffy like 10 years ago, so I don't know why Mega House doesn't do it with their Luffy figures. But really, those are the reasons why this made it pretty high on my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. So that is number 6. Let's move on to my top 5. And coming in at number 5 is probably my favorite Mezco 112 collective figure, and that is the Red Suit Daredevil. And Mezco just destroyed it with this figure. They pretty much made the perfect Daredevil figure. I love the accessories included with him, especially how they put the bendy wire in between the two billy clubs. That is probably the smartest thing you could ever do with a Daredevil figure. And then we do get another set without the bendy wire on it. We get some interchangeable heads, some interchangeable hands, so you get a bunch of dope accessories with this Daredevil here. And he has decent articulation, not the best, but you can get him in some pretty cool looking poses, like this one right here, and the detail was handled extremely well. That is something Mezco does very good. Detail with the cloth clothing, and then whatever they sculpt and paint, they just kill it when it comes to that. So those are the main reasons why this made it at number 5 on my top 10 list. So let's move on to my number 4. Alright, so coming in at number 4 is definitely hands down my favorite SH Figuarts DBZ figure that was released in 2017, and it is the SH Figuarts Super Saiyan God Goku. And Tamashii Nations really did such a great job with this figure. They finally added paint shading on their gi, just on the figure in general, so that is definitely a big plus. Wherever there's paint, nice clean paint. I love the color paint, or the type of paint that they chose for the hair. It gives it like a shiny type look. The sculpt looks fantastic all throughout it. I do like the updated body mold for Goku now. Now the Goku figures are going to be much better compared to what we used to get. The accessories, pretty basic, what we've been getting with Goku figures, just interchangeable faces and hands. Wish they would include more effects with these DBZ figures, which is kind of a bit of a letdown, you know what I mean? And then the articulation, Very well done on this figure. You can almost get him into any pose you would like to get him into. They have been trying to add in some more articulation, like a butterfly joint at the arms and stuff like that, but you do get some very good movement with this Goku, and those are the reasons why he made it at number 4 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. So now let's move on to my top 3. And coming in at number 3 is my favorite figure that did release in the SH Figuarts Naruto line, and it is the SH Figuarts Madara Uchiha. And it's definitely not the best figure in the line. They could have done a much better job with the articulation. You still can get him in some decent poses, but a lot of movement does get hindered, like the neck and the torso, and that's pretty disappointing when a main thing about articulated figures is articulation. The detail, I think, was handled very well. Yes, we could have used paint shading on this figure, because I don't think there is any at all, which is a bit disappointing about this Naruto line. They don't like to add in shading and none of that good stuff, but we do get some of the coolest accessories that we've ever gotten with a Naruto figure, and to me, the accessories, I feel like, is the high point to this figure. But I just really love that they made Madara. He's such a cool character and just straight up badass, and those are the reasons why he made it at number 3 on my top 10 list. So now let's move on to my number 2. And coming in at number 2 is the Good Smile Company Figma Deadpool. And out of all the figures that released in 2017, this is one of the top figures I've had the most fun with, posing around, switching out accessories. Just all the different posing options that you have with this figure is really endless. There's so many different poses you can put this figure in, especially if you get the DX version. The biggest issue with this figure is there was a lot of QC issues with people getting the wrong accessories or not getting a specific accessory. Like, I only got one sword, and that sword wasn't even put together properly, so a lot of people did have QC issues with this figure. And when you have QC issues, that is a extremely disappointing thing, especially when you are a pretty big figure company. But I think the detail on this looks fantastic. I love the sculpt, the paint shading, the paintwork is very well done on it as well. You get some of the best articulation you can get on a figure, which makes the fun factor really high on the scale. And then the accessories, even if you get the regular version, you get a bunch of really cool stuff. But if you get the DX version, you even get some more cool stuff. So those are the main reasons why this has made it at my number 2 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. This was my number 1 until I got these figures. And these figures are my number 1 figures of 2017. So let's find out what my number 1 pick is. And coming in at number 1, yes, I know it is 3 different figures, but they're all pretty much identical. They just have different variations to it, like with colors and accessories. But coming in at number 1 is the Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile. Storm Collectibles is definitely the toy company, for me, of the year. They are doing such a great job with this line, and I am so excited to see what else they bring to the table in 2018 and so on. They just really killed it with all these figures. They knocked it out of the damn park with all 3 of them, and I'm pretty sure they did the same with Noob as well, and I've been hearing nothing but great things about their Street Fighter line as well. The first figures that I ever gave a perfect 10 on my channel was the Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Reptile didn't, because there was a QC issue with his ninja head, because they didn't make the hole deep enough for the ball peg, so that's why he didn't get a perfect 10. But the first perfect 10s that I gave a figure in my reviews are the Scorpion and Sub-Zero figures, and I have never done that on my channel. Storm Collectibles really impressed me with all of these figures. The articulation is perfect. I don't think you can make articulation any better, besides maybe with their ankle pivot. I feel like they can work on that a little bit, but other than that, everything else is spot on perfect for an articulated figure. The detail on all 3 of these executed extremely well. The paint, I feel like they could do a little bit better with the paintwork, but it's really minor. It's not that big of a deal, but I know in the future they'll most likely work on that. And then the accessories, I don't think you can give any better accessories with some Mortal Kombat, Scorpion, Reptile, and Sub-Zero figures that you can. I wish Sub-Zero came with a couple more ice effects, but other than that, they really gave us some of the coolest accessories you can get with some Mortal Kombat Ninja figures. And those are the reasons why these figures made it at number 1 on my top 10 favorite figures of 2017 list. Alright, so that is my top 10 favorite figures of 2017. Remember, these are my top 10 favorite figures. They're not the best figures. They're not your top 10 favorite figures. I don't think these were the best figures of the year. They're just my personal favorite figures that released in 2017. Like I said, we had a lot of good stuff that did release this year, and 2018 is looking very promising for us figure collectors. I think the figure company that I'm most excited for 2018 is going to be Storm Collectibles. I can't wait to see what they bring to the table. Same with SH Figuarts. I always look forward to what SH Figuarts is going to be bringing us, and the Mezco 112 line. Very excited to see what they're going to be making for us as well. And I feel like those were the top 3 figure companies of 2017. Number 3, Mezco. Number 2, SH Figuarts. And number 1, Storm Collectibles. I feel like they did the best in 2017. I'm very excited to see what they bring to us in 2018 and future years, because they're probably my top 3 favorite toy companies as well. They've been doing such a great job with all their figures. SH Figuarts really does, well, Tamashii Nations really do need to work on their game a little bit more, because they are getting a lot more competition, and if they think they could get away with not adding paint shading or not giving as many accessories, I feel like they're gonna lose a lot of customers because of competition. So hopefully they step up their game a little bit more in 2018. But anyway, guys, that is my top 10 favorite figures of 2017. Let me know in the comments below what your top 10 favorite figures of 2017 are, and can't wait to do this video again at the end of 2018 or beginning of 2019. That's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, just give it a thumbs up anyway, because action figures are awesome. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. The Variable Action Heroes One Piece Monkey D. Luffy Past Blue version and what? The Storm Collectibles, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and a Reptile, and they all pretty much same what?